slam dunk in that pussy. Blake Griffin, yo ho, nigga. Made back with Rick and Ross, my chain rock like I know. Jigga, that's cause I do ho. Shout out to my new ho, that pussy pink like.
Season 2 Draft Recap. I'm joined by three gentlemen, Jamilton, Schmebs, and
was good.
I didn't tell you to introduce yourself. All right, Jam, now you introduce yourself.
I live my life however I want to.
Okay,
I can introduce myself if need be.
All right, Hero, how you doing?
No.
Hero,
What?
how you doing?
I said no.
Okay, how you doing today, Schmeb?
No.
I will say good because I have been spoken to.
Okay, moving on to the draft recap now. We're going to start off with the Baltimore Rikers, as you can see on your screen. They are in the red division, and the red division champions. So let's start off with Schmeb talking a little bit about this team. Schmeb, go ahead.
Okay, so on its face, you started out by, I believe, going with things like the Shaman and the Megalodios, which is very much out of your playbook. It has sort of a typical defensive array with the very quick double core of the Dragon's Fairy Steel and the Water, Fire, Grass. I think that you used your late picks pretty well and you were able to get things like a Alolan Muck on its face. I think that was really good, and I like the Terrakion. So that's what I see on its when I first look. I don't like Skarmory. I think it's a little passive, but the cores are good, and that's my initial impression of your team without too much and prior analysis.
Alright, yeah. One thing I did notice, as after the team is all said and done, I did have quite a few ground weaknesses, which is kind of big in this format, because Earthquake spam is kind of a thing. So
I mean, you have Latios, which is already immune to ground and isn't weak to rock, so that's a really good ground resist.
Ground weaknesses, you have a lot of resistances and immunities.
Yeah,
like Skarmory's immune, Latios is immune, Shaman's resistant, Tornadus Eye's immune.
Yeah, I know what you mean, but I was just saying, like, I just noticed that as I was drafting, I was trying to patch it up with...
Like, that's a third of your team immune to ground.
However, at the same time, a lot of them do get affected by Earthquake really heavily. It's kind of an awkward situation where it's either you don't get affected by Earthquake a lot, or you get, like, destroyed by Earthquake with your team dynamic.
Yeah.
See, you're not going to bring Alolan to 0 every week. So your real only big ground weaknesses are Terrakion and Volcanion and, like, Muck. Those are, like, the main 3 ground weaknesses you have.
And, like, yeah, you have a Skarmory and a Megalodios. Like, I think every team here has, like, probably 3 ground weaknesses already. It's not exactly exclusive to you.
I feel you. Moving on to a team that has very little ground weaknesses, probably only 2 or 3. Moving on to the Goomies. Talk a little bit about their team, Hero.
Wait, why? Oh, me? Okay. Let's see. I don't know. I don't feel great about the team. More so because, for one, Dunsparce is easier. Like, I get. I'm not gonna sleep on it or anything, but it's a Dunsparce as a Z user.
It's bad. Just say it.
Yeah, it's terrible. It's god awful. And seriously, where's his dragon? He doesn't have a dragon type. I didn't see it. Yeah. Well, he does have a good Dragon Fairy Steel with Latios, Alolan Ninetales, and Mega Scizor. Veils is nice. And then Tangrowth and Gastrodon's good for defensive core, including with Mandibuzz.
So pretty clear weakness.
Go ahead.
I'm looking at it again. I actually do like the team. He has good fast-paced offensive mods with Azup and Gengar. He just has to be careful with Pursuit Trap.
A pretty clear weakness I see is that his offensive options are very shallow. Like, he has Latias, Mega Scizor, Azelf, Gengar. Like, in terms of what he can change up week to week, is like a fast Scarfer or fast offensive pressure mon. His options are really shallow. Like, it's kind of predictable in that area. I don't know how much that's going to matter, but it's pretty apparent to me.
I do like how he has the Alolan Ninetales, and what I've been seeing recently in League format is that a lot of people set up the Aurora Veil once they switch it in and sack off the Alolan Ninetales immediately. So even though his team isn't necessarily as bulky, once he sets up that screens, and maybe if he plays his Alolan Ninetales properly and sacks it off once he sets up the Aurora Veil, I think his team would be just straight up ready to just sweep after.
Yeah,
one thing I wanted to note is he didn't draft anything else that goes well with the hail. So it's kind of everything else is going to take damage to it.
Like to point out the Veil part of the talking, like It goes well with Scizor setting up a Swords Dance. It also works well with Gengar and Azov just spamming choice specs attack.
Yep.
The potential issue is I know that Azelf and Gengar are sashed very frequently, and he has the Hail Setter, so I don't know if that'll ever matter. It's just kind of obvious as a potential issue. I don't know.
Yeah, I see it. Anyway, moving on to Revis' team. Let's talk a little bit about this team because I really enjoyed this team. When I looked at it, I appreciate it. It's a very
Holy
slow team.
bulk!
It's a very slow team. Yes, I get what you're saying.
I like this team a lot. I love this team a lot.
His only mon above base 100 speed is Heliolisk. I don't know how big of a problem that could be because quite a few spawns they can use Run Scarf, but it's just a little too slow in my opinion. But I do appreciate the bulk he has. Schmeb, talk a little bit about this team from the Miami Heat wave.
So one of the chief things I like to look at is speed, and as you just mentioned, I think having nothing that breaks 110 is extremely problematic because he's not going to bring Heliolisk every week, and that shows that every week you're probably going to be seeing either a Scarf Terracross or Landorus. On the other hand, I think that he supported the Toxapex reasonably well with the Bronzong and Landorus, so that could potentially be good, and some people are just comfortable playing sort of a stall to balance, and Mega Charizard X does have interesting defensive options, so I'm not familiar with Revis' battling style, but if stall is something he's good with, I could really see it, because Mega Charizard X, I think, is really good in stall, potentially, so...
Also, looking at his team, I know Bronzong definitely does get Trick Room. Xatu might, but I think Kyle Rodriguez does as well. Kofag?
Yeah, Kofag gets it, Xatu gets it, and Bronzong gets Trick Room. It goes well with Zulu and Lando.
Yeah.
Like, he definitely does have a Trick Room team. But what I know with people who have, especially in VGC, when you have Trick Room teams, you don't have just a whole team meant for Trick Room. I think majority of his team is like that, with the Pillow, the to the Bronzong, the Toxapex, Kofag. A lot of them are slower. And although he does have a couple, like, I guess Heliolisk is based like, what, 108, 111? I think.
109.
109. So I guess that is a fast mon, which, like, you don't want a full Trick Room team. However, I don't think Heliolisk provides that offensive pressure and as well as the speed that kind of balances out his Trick Room team. I think his team is a little Trick Room team heavy, which can be easily played around.
Did y'all just hear like a rocket going by? Like, what the hell is that? That was kind of crazy.
I don't know. Well, I do want to say one more thing about his team. His team doesn't really need speed, at my perspective at least. It's just a very bulky offensive team. Like, the champion of Season 1 had nothing above base 100, and he became champion with just a bulky offensive team.
Who Akechi?
Yeah.
Akechi is a man of little words. All right,
yeah, he is, but he became champion though.
Moving on to PCM's
Can't argue with it.
Yeah, moving on to PCM's team. PCM's team's kind of interesting. It has garbage on it, like it's garbage. But all right, it has quite a few repeat typings. It has Tapu Fini, Mega Maw, 2 fairy types. Tapu Fini, Vaporeon, 2 water types. Let's see. It has. I think it has another. It has 2 psychic types, I believe, in Uxie and Hoopa. It's just kind of a repeat kind of team, and I don't know how well PCM is going to run this team. I've never seen PCM run this kind of team. He's usually like a little more balanced than this, but actually, this team is kind of the definition of balance. I take that back.
Like, he also has 2 fairy types, 2 psychic. Yeah, he has a lot of duplicate typings.
He's trying to run the Cali special, Season 2 special. But to be honest,
he's really vulnerable to anything with Earthquake. Like anything with Stab Earthquake, anything Scarfed that's going to have a ground.
How about just Mamoswine? Just Mamoswine with free.
Mamoswine beats most teams, though.
Why? I know.
What's his switch in? What's his switch into an Earth? Yeah, he has no Earthquake switch in.
Oopsie.
Okay, any Earthquake wanted to throw Toxic on it. You see, doesn't do well with Toxic.
But I love Infernape, though, and I think Mega Mobile is something he might use well, and if there were a typing I had to double up on, I'd probably pick Water, so I don't think that's really an issue.
PCM, by the way, I'm bringing the Alolan Doug Trio week 1, you better prepare for it. So, I'm kidding. Alright, so, Hero, what do you have to say about this team?
Kind of bit all everywhere, but I do like the speed tiers, the higher pacing speed tiers, like Zygarde 95, Infernape 108. with Zorak at 105 and then Jolteon at 130. I do like that fast-paced speed tiers.
I also like that he picked Tapu Fini late because that bothers me a lot when people pick that round 1 or 2 because I don't think it's that good. And then a late round pick like PCM got is a good way of capitalizing on that.
Also an amazing defogger too.
At least he didn't.
It's not worth a round 1 pick.
At least he didn't drop
Actually, his
someone
only
else.
defogger. Tapu Fini's his only defogger is what I've noticed.
Yeah, he's kind of screwed
Good luck,
if rocks
Jam.
get set up. So anyway, I don't think Jamie has anything to say about this team. Do you, Jamie?
I mean, I think you guys said it pretty well, but I also think that there's going to be a lot of switches in his team later on. I'm just saying, like, I don't see much of the reason to have the Hoopa there. I understand it's a ghost type, so that you don't
Stop
have
buying him with it a few seasons ago.
Like, yeah, I don't see him keeping Hoopa either.
He could keep it. It's a good AV user and flex and
He
like,
could.
It's decent, but it doesn't seem like it fits
It doesn't
really
fit
well with
the
his
team,
team when he has a Vaporeon that's already special.
I just say there's very few switch-ins for Hoopa. That is in like it's kind of.
Any dark type.
I mean, but it can run Focus Blast. You know what I mean? So.
That PCM will miss it 8 times.
You're right.
Isn't Hoopa slow as well?
Yeah, it's pretty.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Base 80 or
Like-
something speed, something like that.
Personally, he's gonna make some few changes to fix up his team. That's
All right.
that's how I see it.
I can see that happening too. But moving on to the worst team in the league, J. Reed.
You are fucking insane.
I was gonna.
Oh my gosh.
Moving on.
Okay. Ranger, why don't you talk about Ray J's team?
All right.
Oh my god.
Straight up garbage, man. Look at that. Look at like this earthquake just bodies this man's team. Actually, not really, but
Wait, what do you mean earthquake bodies his man's team? He has 3 immunities.
I looked at it, and I was just like, I should probably take that back.
Yeah, Ponchcrow, Cresselia, Hydreigon, and Gligar are all immune to ground.
Well, here, this is the thing. I was looking at the middle, and I just saw Tentacruel, Torkoal, Zebstrika, Mega Houndoom, and Nidoking, and I was just like, wow.
Right.
That's what I saw. Like, I didn't see the
That's one of those
Hydreigon.
things
Yeah.
where
He
your
has
team
5
is.
ground week months.
I was watching A-Drive's planning for his first week. Shameless plug, by the way. And how he had a Lando T, but how awkward it was for him to use it because the team he was going against, it either destroyed Earthquake either destroyed his team or his team was completely immune. So you could play games against anyone that has a strong Earthquake user, such as Lando T.
But what's his
or
thousand
the-
arrows twitching?
Cresselia right there.
Yeah, exactly. Most teams don't have a good dozen arrow switching. It's not absurd for him to have a only decent one in Crest. Like, it's not bad.
Mhm.
Yeah, Crest is his only switch, but I'm just saying.
But
Also,
on
he
both
has
teams,
3 dark types. He also has
I
3
think-
dark types.
I think the 3 dark types are fine. The Hydreigon franchise is an interesting decision to me. It was sort of surprising. I like Mega Houndoom where it was because as I was watching Jay's draft, because I was worried about him sniping me, I noticed he was low on speed and a fire type, and I think that was his actual probable best pick as a Mega. I think he'll get good use out of the stall aspect and will win without offense more often than we think. And while there are obvious vulnerabilities that come with stall, I don't think the 5 grand weaknesses are going to be much of a problem because he's never going to bring more than 3 in one game. So
Sure, I appreciate your insight. Jay, let's hear your input. What do you have to say about this trash team?
My basically whole thing about this draft was basically try new things. I'm pretty sure none of these mods I never really tried besides Ponchcrow, and that's really it. So just reaching out and trying different things. Although I have used all these in standard format and I've learned about them and I know a bit about them to at least play with them in Draft League. But as far as, actually playing with them in Draft League, I never used them before. So this is just me branching out, trying new stuff.
Appreciate it.
Question?
Moving on
Before
to
we move on.
Twig's team. What
Before now.
power he has. Tapu Koko, Mamoswine, Dragonite. You just can't beat it. I'm kind of questioning like a Sableye pick. I don't think it's very good as a tier 1 value pick. But
Yeah, same.
some of the stuff I can appreciate. Like Registeel is a very good mon. Good rock setter. Ditto can be scary, but I feel like he took it a little too early. What are your thoughts on this team, Schmeb?
So, on its face, I love the Coco Mamoswine deal.
Yeah.
I think that going for Mega Sableye may not have been necessarily an I want to stall my opponent's plan, more as a I want to dissuade hazard stacking so that I have a more defensive option, because you see he went for Delmise and Quagsire late in the draft, telling me that he wants to have the ability to go balance if he likes, and just having to make a Sableye on a team makes hazard stacking a lot more difficult and sort of dissuades it. So I think it's a very deep team. I don't think Ditto is great, and I'm not sure it'll be used that much, but other than that, I like his options. I see a good amount of offensive depth. I think Hawlucha and Delphox are great. Well, he also has things like Quagsire and the Mega Sableye, so I think it's a solid team.
All right,
I also like the Hawlucha as well.
Since they're going to win this division and Jay's in it, Jay, let you talk about it, and then we'll get to Cam your thoughts.
Okay. Well, my first thoughts, obviously, this is a really scary team, seeing it's in my division, and I play him week 1. However, as you can see, he definitely suffered a lot by grabbing a lot of the higher tier mons, as far as grabbing lower tier mons later on in the draft. I mean, he has, 4 or 5 mons above the 100 tier mark. And granted, that's good and all. He was able to pick up those things, but you see it did suffer later on in the draft, and you'll start to notice as you play throughout the season, those top tier mons are going to be what he mainly brings to most of his matches, and is going to be sort of kind of easy to prep around those, especially seeing as how reliant this team is on those mons as well.
2 of 3 out of Tapu Koko, Mamoswine, and Dragonite are coming every game.
Yeah,
probably.
Easily.
Yeah, I didn't really understand the Hawlucha pick. I don't think Hawlucha is that good, in my opinion, especially it's only 20 points.
Not that good.
It doesn't
When I see Hawlucha, I didn't know the price wasn't that expensive. I didn't see that it was 140 points, and now I kind of
by the way,
somewhat take back what I was saying. However, I remember early in the meta, in Gen 7 meta, when people would run the Hawlucha with some, I don't remember what it was, like an electric seed or a psychic seed, where you get a boost off it, and then the Unburden on top of it if you're in the terrain. And seeing that he has the Coco, he can potentially sack off Coco after it's done its job, then switch into Hawlucha, get the Unburden boost, as well as I think it's a special defense up, and then just sweep from there.
Fighting flying is very good offensive typing, but you have to remember, and it's always nice to have.
Mm-hmm.
It's really good. It's hard to switch into those two.
I'm just curious about how he plays the Quagsire, because didn't Unaware get a buff, get a nerf, excuse me? To an extent.
Really.
I thought
Not really. Unaware Quagsire is still the same.
And then just some other things, Ariados also does get webs, so that, I think so, right?
Yeah.
So that's one thing to know.
Yeah, he gets webs. It helps out Dragonite and Mammoth.
And let's not forget that Delphox can be actually pretty scary to deal with, because it gets a decent amount of coverage. And it can hit
decent. It gets really good coverage, in my opinion.
Okay, Hero. You don't need to one up me. It gets
coverage. I want to ward up you every time.
It gets good coverage, and it can run spikes really well, in my opinion. All right. Moving on to Yoshi Blaze. I'm surprised he franchises Kartana. I don't think that's a mon that's worth franchising, but correct me if I'm wrong.
It's a good mon.
It's good,
it's a good
but
mon.
it's not anything he could have spent his first round pick on it and saved 20 points, in my opinion.
40.
What about you, Schmeb? Tell me a little bit about his team.
I was going to say, I'm with you on being kind of against the Kartana franchise. I don't really see that. But I think that he picked a team that's not like typical Yoshi, but I like it a lot. I love Megalopony, Arcanine. I think Rotom's probably the best thing that's formerly tier 5, and it's a really good tier 4. The thing I don't really see is what his team is mainly designed to do. There's not a lot of Volturn options to get Megalopony in, but he clearly wanted to start that by going with Gliscor Rotom. It seems like it looks to me like he had a list of things he wanted to check off, and 90% finish it. That's what I get.
Does Cortana get U-turn?
He's dropping Lightning Rock for Raikou. So 1 point.
Okay. That clears things up. I like that better.
Does Cortana get U-turn now? Am I wrong about that?
No.
It doesn't?
I believe so.
It looks like it
He
should.
doesn't get it.
All right, talk a little bit about the division champs right here, Yoshi and the Capital City Go-Goats. Tell me a little bit about the division
champs. Has a very average chance of being on top.
Jay?
My thoughts about this team, of course, the one big scary thing, of course, that Megalopony, that's something I think everybody overlooks because, nowadays Megas are so overlooked. Now there's more of a focus on Z crystals and whatnot. But Megalopony is still a really solid Mega, and actually part of the reason why I actually drafted Cresselia was for this mon here, because this thing can just open up so many things on anybody's team.
Yeah,
really,
you have no switch-ins besides Cresselia.
yeah. So I have
Nobody
to
just
definitely pick
bodies
it
your
up.
team. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, Mega Low Pony is really solid, and we all know, Kartana. I honestly think Kartana as a franchise is really interesting. Not necessarily bad, but it's interesting because it can definitely be run Z. Of course, we all know the timid. I think 20 certain IVs to boost its speed on certain Z type sets, and that thing is just an amazing wall breaker. And of course, he has Kiram, which is a really solid mon in it. So
You said timid?
Yeah, timid with
there's
13
timid sets.
speed EV. With 13
Wait,
IV.
people run timid?
Allows it.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. They run timid so that Kartana becomes a sweeper and not a wall breaker.
Shall we move on to Sweet? Okay.
Yes,
Yeah,
let's go
because
ahead and move on to Sweet.
it gets plus speed every turn instead of attack.
All right,
Yeah.
Sweet. I'm not going to try to go too hardcore into you, but I think we had a consensus earlier a week ago, and I think 2 out of 4 of us said that Sweet actually had one of the worst teams. I believe it was Sweet. We said. I mean, we didn't say it was like significantly the worst, but it was just kind of a thing we noticed. It's not really a big deal with multiple typings, but he has quite a few of typings that he doesn't need, in my opinion. Like the 2 bug types, I don't think that's necessary. The 2 steel types, 2 water types, it's okay. And then 3 ground types? Okay, that's getting a little too much there. And then 2 flying
the team is just all over the place, honestly.
Forgot the 2 flying types. And then you have him a champ. And then that's basically his team. Alright, so that's basically it. Let's move on. I'm just kidding. Schmeb, talk a little bit about his team.
That's Sweet.
Yes, sir.
Okay. I haven't looked at his team before this, but on its face, I actually really like Zapdos. That stands out to me as a quite strong pick. It fit his team really well. It gave him a good ground immunity and flying resist to work with Scolipede. I think that Seismitoad is really good always. I like water ground types a lot and think that Stealth Rocks are something his team desperately needed because, Golem is not good and isn't going to be used too much for that. But there's a Hippowdon. So one surprised me in his draft was Hippowdon with no further sand material. And I'm not saying you had to go for Excadrill. It's kind of expensive, but I expected him to get Stoutland maybe, but it didn't happen. So that's an interesting call. But we'll see, I guess.
You're not going to talk about his multiple typings that he doesn't need? Like that are...
Well, he has a huge rock weakness too. That stands out to me.
Scolipede and Mega Pinsir, what? You don't need both of them. What? They don't do the same thing, but they're just they're similar enough. You don't need both of them.
I mean, if they weren't rock weak, I could see it, but because they're different speed tiers, they serve different roles. But they're both weak to rocks, and that's an issue because
it's like a wall break.
Blastoise
Sweeper. Hero.
Well, Blastoise has no reliable recovery, and it's slow, and it's going to be under a lot of pressure.
Exactly. Does he have a... Wait, I was trying to see. Does he even have a fairy? But, I don't know. Alright, go
Looking
ahead.
at his team, I think... Is Serena a spinner? Serena is... So his spinners are... Blastoise.
Yeah, Serena came back to spin.
And I think just having 2 spinners that aren't necessarily that fast, or... Well, I guess Blastoise can be made bulky. But he's going to be really reliant on those because he's pretty weak to rocks with Mega Pinsir and Scolipede. Actually, is he? Yeah.
But that's his only really rock weakness.
But even then, I think taking 6 to 12% with a lot of these mons, just on switching in is a lot of a hindrance to him, and it's pretty weak to hazards, I'd say. All in all, in general, more than some of the other teams that we've seen so far. But not having the switch initiative as well on top of that to play off of it. His team isn't necessarily the fastest, other than the Scolipede and Mega Pinsir. So he won't.
I just realized he has 3 bug types. I didn't realize that before. 3. What is
He does.
Yeah, he is.
Okay, he has 3 bug types, 3 ground types, 2 water types, no fairy.
Bugcatcher,
I just find it
Bugcatcher sweet. He's Bugcatcher sweet. Leave him alone.
That's cool. Alright, moving on to Killer's team and the coach of the Orlando Trailers. Whoever's the coach, please calm down. Alrighty. Moving on to the Killer's team. Anyways, you want to talk about their team?
I'll talk about it. Okay. Killer's team, let's see. To me, it has really good fire. I like the Firewater grass code of Gyarados, Incineroar, and Celebi. It has good bulk in Clefable, and really good bulk in Clefable. I really hate Clefable. I want to point that out. I really hate Clefable. Then, to me, he has, I guess, his team's actually really well built from speed tiers, from Zazora from 143 to Crobat to 130 to Flygon and Celebi at 100. Gyarados to 81, and then Sharpedo being at 105, and it able to get speed boost. And he has a decent Dragon Fairy Steel Core as well. Wait, does he even have a Dragon? Yes, he does with the Flygon. Overall, I do like his team. I do like his team as Gyarados and Flygon are his Z users. Z Bounce. Fire Z, Fire Blast, Flygon.
True.
Or Jay, go ahead and talk a bit about this team and this Cavalier that you gave him.
Also,
okay,
Jay, can you also tell me because you drafted Zeraora as well. I haven't seen Zeraora competitively at all. So I'm really interested into what that does in general at all.
Well, I think everybody, the thing about Zeraora, it's interesting because it's like extremely fast. However, I've noticed, especially when I drafted it for the B League, which you hear about later, its attacking stats are a little bit on the weaker side. I mean, it has, I wouldn't say mediocre completely.
But average. They're just average.
Yeah, they're average. And then it doesn't have a good move pool to kind of open it up. So, but I mean, the thing about it, it's still a pretty good mod. It's super duper fast. I believe it's like at 143 speed. So that's almost on par with Mega Lopunny. So that's amazing from a mod with absolutely like no Mega, and it just got released. But I mean, talking more about it, this is actually one of my top 3 teams, especially after I was able to trade away a Scavalier for a Torkoal. It just has a really nice build to it. Great cores all around. Love the Mega Sharpedo pick. It's really interesting. He's got Mons to sort of beat the dark types that switch into this thing, like Conkeldurr and whatnot, and a Scavalier. And I love his Z picks in Gyarados and Flygon, 2 set of sweepers that can just blow past teams, in a heartbeat, depending on, the way they build around it.
Yeah, it's a really fast team, in my opinion, because he has the Mega Sharpedo. He doesn't have to Mega Evolve first turn, I believe. So he can gain speed boost. It's kind of interesting, though, getting Mega Sharpedo. Mega Sharpedo is an interesting pick, but Gyarados kind of does a similar role, but Gyarados is a little more defensive. But, yeah, I can see how this team is fitting out.
It's okay to have both in that. They're not that
Yeah, I was thinking Mega Gyarados in the back of my mind, but then I realized that Gyarados is very different than Mega Gyarados.
Well, I want to say he did want Mega Gyarados at first. That's what he wanted to originally draft.
Okay.
Alrighty, moving on to Schmebs' team. We'll have Schmeb talk about his team, and then maybe Hero chime in.
I think I'll talk. If it's okay, I'll actually talk about mine last. If that's all right.
Okay, Hero, you go ahead and talk about it.
Talk about it.
Talk about your run.
No. Why do you want me to talk about his team? Okay. Schmebs' team is like my favorite team in the league. Hands down, my favorite team in the league, just so because he got Mega Charizard Y. Like, I never see it being drafted and used well. But him having Charizard Y and Tyranitar, of those two alone, makes such an amazing wall-breaking core. And then having Garchomp as a Z user is another good wall-breaker. And to point out, you have to bring Sandvale, Garchomp. I'm going to just say, you got to bring it once. And then also getting Starmie for a tier 2 value was also really good. And then franchising Amoonguss was also good, giving him something really fat sponge to switch in for everything. And then getting a good U-turn with Minfu was also really good.
Mienshao.
So, Mienshao, I don't really care, dude. Leave me alone. And also him having a good bulk with Swampert and Amoonguss are also really good.
All right, I'm of the mindset. I'm of the mindset that Amoonguss is not worth. I'm of the mindset that Amoonguss is not worth franchising. I think he could have not franchised it and saved 20 points, but it's up to him, and I can't really judge him for that because he'll probably still destroy everyone. But anyway, okay, let's have Jay talk a little bit about his team.
When I looked at this team, of course, I saw the weather teams, and I was like, okay, this is pretty much Snub's usual route. He usually drafts weather teams or pseudo weather teams. However, it was not. As I looked around the other teams, it was not one of my top teams, honestly. It's a bit unorthodox with dual weather, sun and sand. I know sometimes it'll work together, but, I just kind of don't see it for the likes of me. I mean, overall, it has a really nice build to it. I love the Garchomp pick and Savali pick as Z-Mons. Those things are going to be amazing for him. I also love like Tyranitar and Swampert can get up rocks. So he doesn't have to bring one rocker every week. He can always rely on one of those two, as well as Garchomp. And he has nice, good wall breakers, overlooked wall breakers, honestly, in Mienshao and whatchamacallit, Savali. Because, I mean, the good thing about Savali, he can be ran any set, does get Swords Dance, it gets Parting Shot, all these great utility moves, but it can also be a pretty good sweeper when given the chance. But at the same time, I still look at this team, and it's a little unorthodox, especially after, watching Schmebs draft and play for such a long time
Forever and a half now.
Yeah, it's been a long time. So this is a bit of an unorthodox way for him to draft, honestly, in my opinion. But he may make it work for all we know.
Yeah,
I do want to say his team's not really around Sun.
he does have speed
wanna say-
control, Thunderwave, Klefki, and his team's not super fast, in my opinion. Like, if you really look at it from, like, Starmie's fast, but, like, Starmie, Mienshao, kind of the only really fast mods.
That was a regret. I did want a 120. I did want a 120 plus mon. I usually try to get that. So when I realized that one of those was going to have trouble fitting into my broader strategy, I decided to just try to get a bunch of the 100. So like Mienshao, Garchomp, Charizard Wise at 100, and Starmie's at 115. That way I can sort of do decently well and have good scarf options. So that was kind of the alternative to getting a super fast thing. I buy, though, that I did not predict as well as I could have on that front.
Jamie, you want to say something about his team real quick?
It goes back to what we were talking about. I think it was Revius, where he has a relative one-trick team. This, again, shout out to Schmeb, is a well-done dual kind of team where you composed it well with going along the aspect of weather, where it's a strong sand team with Garchomp, Swampert, T-Tar, and I think there was a previous season where you had T-Tar or Mega T-Tar, and you rocked the heck out of it.
Tyranitar Mega Gallade.
Yeah. But either way, you still had a T-Tar, and again, I think that was my last season that I played, and I remember you destroying me in that, as always. But again, with Mega Charizard Y, and you can play around with the sand with that. You're not going to bring Mega Charizard Y maybe every week, but you do have that as maybe you can around the sand, but you can play on top of them with playing Sun as well. And I think this one was well done, where you have someone that plays against the sand with Mega Charizard Y, but is fast enough and hits hard. Which again, back to Revius, I don't think Heliolisk was the best one that played against the counter to his team almost. Where it didn't make it one trick, but I think you did that as a great job here. I'm interested in what you do with Rotom Fan. I remember you and I having a conversation about Rotom Forms way back when. And you do have a little bit more of an interest of Rotom Fan than I do. But I'm interested in what you do with that.
Well, I think I wanted regular Rotom, but I realized it was 60 points, which caught me a little off guard. But I think I'm going to be all right enough with Rotom Fin because it still gives me that ground immunity, flying resist, with decent enough stats that I can bring it to a game with strong tier bonds. So I'm not going to use it every week, but it just sort of pats down a weak spot, I also noticed I didn't have a lot of ground resistances. So I wanted to grab something that was immune in my last couple picks.
And then looking at hazard removal, because you do have a Mega Charizard Y, you do have the Starmie, but is that it? I think you had one more.
Starmie, Savali,
Savali gets rid of hazard.
Yeah, Savali gets defog now.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it gets defog now.
Default Charizard, so
Charizard Y gets default.
Yeah.
Rotom Fan gets default. Klefki does not get default.
Rotom gets defog? I've been so out of the loop.
Yep, all Rotom forms, and even Lando gets defog. Lando and Tord Eye and Dundee.
And Klefki gets defog, Ranger.
It does?
What?
What the hell?
I want you to know I've been so out of the loop. This is why I don't do Draft League anymore.
And so do all the genies, as I said. Anyway, that's a really well-bet team. He's going to win his division, except for he's not, because Alpha will.
Yeah, like, Schmebs winning his division.
Alpha will win it. Alpha will win it.
No, he won't.
All right, moving on to Alpha's team, the California Chestnuts. Jay, would you like to talk about this man's awesome ultimate cool, uber awesome team. Very offensive.
Yeah, sure. First thing I noticed right off the back, especially since I used this mod for like so many freaking seasons, I love the Solomon's pick. It's a great Z mod. Great set of sweeper. It can be ran bulky, it can be ran offensive. There's even wish sets you could toss around in there. It's a really diverse, like just versatile mod all around. I love it as a Z pick. Tying in with Celestia, probably one of the best all-around mods I've seen in any type of format between draft and standard format. It's just good all around. It could be bulky, it could be offensive. And I mean, it just has good all-around stats to work with it. It has mediocre speed, if not poor speed, but it can be boosted on top of Autotomize. So that's really cool and all. Love the Uniclus pick and Snorlax. I mean, those two together is just going to be a headache for opponents just trying to break through that wall core, especially with Donphan and Jellicent down on top of it. And I actually really like Mega Deontay fitting in this within this core. A lot of people's cores or their megas just to me don't really seem to fit with their teams. But this one actually really fits well. You get some Magic Bounce. Magic Bounce has an ability, so don't have to worry about hazards too much. It's a really great fairy type. And also, through this gen, especially, you got access to Power Gem, so you no longer have to run Diamond Storm most of the time. You can run Power Gem, which is 100% accurate, if I'm not mistaken, and you don't have to worry about missing, and it hits on the special side. But yeah, this is honestly one of my more fun teams to watch. It just has a fun build to it. And it's going to be one of those teams that's probably going to be around, 8-4 by the end of the season, not top tier, but like mid tier, at least good enough to get them a playoff spot. And it's just going to be really fun to watch them.
All right, for sure.
So this division is like actually scary. Looking at the teams that are in here, giggity gosh darn, this is a competitive, the gold division is scary.
Yeah, y'all were saying Schmeb might win this. I was like, well, there's Killer and Alpha. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm actually worried about Killer.
Something either. Something's got a pretty decent team on top of that, but we'll get to that.
All right, we'll get to it right now, actually. I kind of enjoy Something's team because he did draft one of my favorite mons, Slurpuff. It never gets drafted in any league I've ever been in, and I really like using it. I really like seeing it used properly. A lot of interesting picks. Heatran, as always gets drafted very early. Kind of nice to see that. And also a little bit of Persian. Good team overall. It also has webs to help out Mega Aerodactyl. It really needs help with that. Hero, what are your thoughts on this team?
Oh, my thoughts on this team? Well, I love this Firewater Grasscore, Heatran, Milotic, and Chestnut. That's my favorite thing about the team. I like the Haxorus pick too, of it being just able to click Dragon Dance and it being a Z to just to one-shot something. And I do like the Persian to come in for Haxorus, and Gavantula and Slurpuff can both set up webs for Haxorus.
Yes, exactly. Mm-hmm. What are your thoughts on this team, Schmeb?
I think actually the most annoying thing to me is I don't see why Slurpuff is the second Z-Mon. I think it should so clearly be Persian.
Yeah, I was thinking Slurpuff.
Yeah, Persian. Or even Heatran to have the solar move. But I like Mega Aerodactyl a lot. It's one of my favorite Pokemon. I think a lot of people know. But that just stands out to me a lot because he's not going to bring Slurpuff to every game. And if he starts forcing it in matches that it doesn't belong, it's not going to work as well as he wants it to. You have to make sure you've cleared out the opponent's team perfectly before you go forward. I win with that.
I can see Espeon being a good division as well. He gets a decent amount of coverage and can good.
Trying to think of his thought process behind it. Seeing the Galvantula as well, I think, because what I see Slurpuff with his move, if I ever do, is the belly drum. And I think he has ideas for that with the webs up as well to get it enough to have the webs up and Slurpuff be able conditioned to be ready to sweep to just Z belly drum and just take it from there because you get the Unburden boost as well, outspeed almost anything, especially definitely with the webs. But I do agree that maybe that is just too much of a risk to take. Not necessarily. It's too. What's the word? It's too technical. It's situational. What I'm looking for. Yeah, that it's too situational for that to necessarily work. I think having it be again a little Persian, Heatran, maybe even Espeon as well. Just makes it a lot more ambiguity and makes his team a little bit more versatile. But we'll see what he does with Star Power. I'm excited.
Me too. Moving on to the coach of the Baltimore Blastoise, a.k.a. Hero, a.k.a. Galena Knight. Let's talk about his team. It's a little bit on the weather side, just a little bit. Jay, what are your thoughts on this team?
I actually really like this team. I actually think this is the best team in the league. Honestly, this is my number one right here. I know, like, going halfway through the draft, he wasn't really looking towards rain. I know he picked up Goodra and Empoleon and Torrentee, all really solid mons that work in the rain. And as soon as he picked up Pelipper, Kingdra, and Kabuto, I started swinging. I was like, wow, this team is actually really, really terrifying. Then you put Mega Blade on top of that, which after a Sword Dance, I don't even know what he put into that thing, honestly. Yeah, Weavile on top of that as well. Really solid speed here. Super fast. Has access to stab knockoff and Ice Crash. Two really solid stabs on this mon as well. And I mean, this team just gelled together just so freaking well. And I mean, it's going to be scary. It's definitely my number one team in the league. And, you know, and add on top of that even more, Tornado is T and Weavile is Zmoth. It's just, that's hard. That's a hard combo to switch in. That's going to be hard to prep for every week, honestly, for any opponent.
Yeah, I see ya. Anyways, moving on to Hero's thoughts on it.
Oh, let's see. Well, at first, I want to point out I'm the only person, probably the only person in the entire Pokemon community that would draft Mega Gallade round 1, pick 2. I want to point that out. But the moment, I decided to go Gallade, my only mons that I wanted were Weavile. Weavile was the only mon, maybe besides Salamence, that I wanted with Gallade. Because Weavile traps Bulky Psychics and Ghost types for Gallade. And as soon as those two typings are gone, Gallade can literally just run through teams. And I decided that I really wanted a fast-paced team, and so I got Torrentee behind it. And I never thought about going weather until Schmebs told me that he was going to go Zard Y and Tyranitar. And after that, I decided to go Goodra, and then Rotom and Empoleon to all pair up well in weather, and then I decided to draft Pelipper.
I was actually waiting for your decision on Tyranitar or Weavile because I was going to pick whichever one you didn't get. That was actually my thinking.
All right.
Yeah.
Moving on to Akechi's pick. The Season 1 champions. The Season 2 potential champions. Because I think they have one of the best teams in the league. This is one of my favorite teams.
I agree.
Akechi. We'll get Jam's thoughts because we haven't heard from him in a little bit.
For one, I had no idea that champion. I've been just that out of it. But looking at his team, just before you even said that, while we were looking at Hino's team, I just liked it a lot. This is a team that I would like. It to me, it fits my playstyle a lot. Having mons like Gardevoir and Scizor, who can be made bulky but also very offensive. I just love Scizor a lot. Roserade can also be made bulky and offensive, but he also has bulk. It's one of those teams where they can be considered to be very fast, but also have bulk to it behind them. Scizor, Gardevoir, Roserade are just the perfect examples of that. But he also has incredibly bulky team members such as Hariyama, Rhyperior, and I love the idea of having a Z-move Mew, where it's literally the absolute definition of versatility. I just like a lot of the amount of versatility and bulk and power that he has behind each one of these individual members.
Thank you for that analysis. Moving on to Hero's thoughts on Akechi's team.
Okay, let's see. My thoughts is I really love the fact that he drafted Karen Black, or franchise Karen Black, quote unquote. And again, it looks like Akechi's playstyle is bulky offense because just like last season, he doesn't have a single mon above base 100 speed.
Yeah, very true.
That is very true. He loves bulky offense, but I do like the Mew and Kyurem Z users and the Mew kit. Mew supports very well with Kyurem. Like to me, Mew is like one of the only few switches that can actually help the switch into Kyurem very, very nicely.
All right,
and then I do.
Thank you for your thoughts, Hero. Moving on to Dax and the Shalor Shadows. Let's get Jay Reese's thoughts on this team.
My thoughts on the team, honestly, before we look into anything else, let's just look at Hooper and Bound and Lando I, which I'm actually surprised.
I thought you were going to say Bombay. I'm sorry.
Oh no, are you kidding me? No, but Hoopa Unbound and Lando Eye, even though Lando Eye is his Zmon, what switches into those things, honestly, besides, I guess, bulky fairy types? I mean, and even still, Hoopa gets Gunk Shot, Lando Eye gets Sludge Wave. I mean, this right here is a really annoying team. Rabombi for Sticky Webs, I think it's Firewater, Grass Core, his Mega Venusaur, Suicune, and Rotom Heat. That's just a whole bunch of fat going on. Like, and then you got, add on top of that, you got Hippowdon, which just literally sits on top of teams and just clicks slack off.
It's Hippopatatas.
Oh, what? Oh, my, well, never mind. God, Jesus. I thought that was a Hippowdon. I thought this, I was going to say this thing is hella fat. Who allowed this? But, I mean,
as nice as the Hoopa U, Landorus, Venusaur, Excadrill combination is, I think this draft was kind of poorly managed. I think that if you have to pick 3 things out of Tier 5B, it shows that you really didn't examine your options as much as you could have. And while I like it on its face, I just think it could have so easily been better.
Who franchises Hoopa U? That's like, why is it 220 points? Like, what the hell? Look, I thought the maximum the money was 180. Oh, it's 40 points. Yeah. What the hell? Why would you
That's just very managed.
You have to be smoking weed or something to franchise that thing. Alrighty, moving on to the last team, and that's franchise. I mean, that's not franchise. That's secret.
my goodness.
Alright, this man has Jirachi Togekiss. He automatically gets the best team award. He has some threats like Salazzle, Crawdon, special physical kind of split there going on. Nothing real bulky. He has Superior, just ultimate sweep. I like how his Fire, Water, Grass core is just all like just sweepers, like or like wall breakers or whatever. It's kind of crazy. And then his only bulk is Megampharos and Togekiss. How do you feel?
I think Buzzwell's bulky.
I do want to point out he has the best mon in Porygon Z. Like literally, if he brings Porygon Z and just clicks Stride Attack, he gets a freeze. That's all he has.
God, salt in the wound.
Is that a reference to something? I missed that on that.
Killer, if you made it this far, just quit. Just exit the tab. Okay?
Yeah, it's just like... Oh. Like, Porygon Z is the MVP of Season 1. That's just... We can all agree on that.
Alright.
Sure.
Moving on to Schmebs' thoughts on this team.
I actually wanted to add to the bulk thing. I think that he has Buzzwole, which is pretty good bulk-wise. It has 140-something defense. It has Roost. It's had a lot of HP. I think Miss Magius is good. I think Megaling Post could be fun. And he has good Volturn core options. I think I've seen the Jirachi Togekiss Mega Emperor somewhere before, but I'm not sure where that was. But I think it's well built and he'll do reasonably well. Not a ton of speed, but
I appreciate everyone who joined me, including Schmeb, Hero, and Jay, even though none of them will win the division like I will. And
you are actually insane.
I'm sorry.
Are you kidding?
Win the league like I will. Alright, because they're okay.
You don't even make
Alrighty, let's just end this video. Peace, guys. Peace.